Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, now it's official. We're started.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we're started. Yeah.
One man down.
Okay. It looks good. It looks like it's not glitching like it was before when I was recording this. So that's a good sign. Yeah, welcome to Three Dudes, Four Wheels podcast. Obviously, we are not in our vehicle today, and Sly is not with us, but we are marching on. We're going to try and talk about some stuff, some struggles that Chris and I have, which is mainly like focusing on tasks and sticking with like our goals. me especially, because I have changed what I wanted to do on YouTube probably like 6 or 7 times now. And it's been about a year that I've had a YouTube channel. And I can attribute some of that to being like my ADD brain, and also just the fact that like I don't let things like simmer long enough to see if it's actually successful. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, oh, this isn't working. Next, on to the next thing.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that and the pitfalls of it, and like how we can be better at focusing on our goals and just being more legit in life in general. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I could start with, I'm not really sure it ties in exactly to the ADHD part and the issues we have with that, but one of my life issues right now is why we don't have a car. I don't know if I told you about that. My car tire blew out the other day on 288. Yeah, well, we say blow out. It made a loud noise. There was a lot of flapping, and we pulled over. Didn't see any issues. Got home. We were able to drive it home. We still heard the flapping, but there's a huge piece of rubber missing and like flapping off my tire, so it could blow at any moment.
Oh my God.
So I got to get all 4 new tires sometime this week, which I'm excited for because I just got it rotated, and not rotated, but I got my my car balanced and everything straightened out a few weeks ago. And they were like, hey, your tire, I should probably change that. And I've heard that a lot in my life. I've always put it off, and this time it really bit me. Man, we won 2-8. If that thing would have blown at the wrong time, it could have been really bad.
Damn, dude, I didn't know that. That's crazy. I'm glad you're okay.
Oh yeah,
blowouts can be intense. I remember like happened to my dad once on the highway, and he just like was super calm about it. And was just like, okay, I'll just slowly pull over to the shoulder. But like, if it was me, I probably would have overcorrected or done something crazy and made the situation way worse.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't driving. Brittany was driving, and she handled it extremely well. So I am happy about that. Happy everything turned out for the best. But soon we will have a car back up and running. We'll be back in the normal environment. We'll have Sly along with us, and hopefully the next video we'll be back in there.
Yeah, man. So I do kind of want to dive into my emails, which is kind of like my stream of consciousness that I send out. I have like this newsletter that I actually have been slacking on sending for a while now, just because I've been like just trying to focus on one thing, because I think that is a huge issue with me. Is I try to put a lot of focus on multiple things at one time, and I do it all very poorly. So that's why I haven't really been repurposing any of my content on any other platforms. I've just like been trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing first, and then maybe I can branch out.
So is it like a thing? I was going to ask you a question about it. Is it a thing where you can't find the thing that fits right? Or do you just have FOMO and you just think that there's a better option out there for you? Or there's some way to improve? Are you just trying to constantly improve? Or why can't you streamline it? Just pick 3 or 4 things and stick to it?
That's a great question, man.
Yeah.
Because it's a couple of things. I think the first one is I was following what I thought was like the recipe for success initially. Because I went into YouTube not really knowing about YouTube, and how did I even start doing YouTube? Like I started it with John. I started it with my brother, and we just both at the time didn't really have a bunch of time to invest in it, and I was getting burnt out from it. And but then I was like, man, my solo one's kind of taking off right now because I started doing shorts, and those would get a decent amount of views. People thought they were funny, but then I started getting burnt out from that, and I was like, I don't want it to be like a comedy channel.
Right.
I don't think I have the chops for it to come up with a bunch of different ideas and keep it fresh and keep it engaging and keep it fun.
Yep.
So then I was like, fuck that. And then I went to doing the vlog thing. I experimented that for like a month. And all this just to come back to where like I originally wanted to go, which was just like kind of like a talking head format, but just a little bit more refined, a little bit more fancy than like people like you watch, like Wendigoon, or like people that I watch, like Charlie, who goes by like 8 different names apparently. Moist Critical, Penguins, Zero.
Oh, it's him too? I knew he looked familiar. I knew.
Yeah. So he has like a variety show essentially on YouTube. He's a huge streamer. He streams every day on Twitch, and he just does these like quick cuts about pop culture things. It could be about a TV show he's watching. It could be about some streamer that like got canceled or did some crazy shit. And he literally just turns on his camera and talks for 15, 20 minutes. And that's his content. And he gets millions of views every
Is
video.
it just his opinions and like this is what he thinks about the situation? Is it more like this is where he thinks things are going to go with, say, video games, movies, or shows? Like, does he talk about those kinds of opinions, or is it just this is what's happening right now and an explanation more?
I think that he gets, because he's like always live streaming, he gets like a lot of these tips from his audience of like things that are happening on the internet, and he's just so connected with like everybody on the internet. He knows all the right people, so he's almost like news for younger generation, and he just has like his own like opinions on it and his own kind of views, and he lays it out. If you don't know what the story is that he's talking about, he kind of explains it initially, and then he dives into like his opinion on it. And that is essentially like, I think what makes it good is that it's super just chill. It's not like he's doing anything crazy with it. He might pop up like a graphic on the screen here or there, like a screenshot.
Right.
And then he just talks about it. And it's usually like a hot take or controversial, or he'll say something really funny. He's like a really sharp, smart dude. If you see any of his monologues or talking heads,
I have.
Yeah, he's like, pretty funny guy, pretty engaging. And it's kind of like, I want to tap into that, but do it my way. I don't want to completely just rip off his thing, because I'm sure people have tried and failed to do that. But yeah, I think it boils down to answer your question is like, I was just trying too hard.
Yeah.
And that in turn got me burnt out because I wasn't being creative. I wasn't really doing what I personally thought I was going to be good at.
Yeah.
I was just doing whatever I thought the algorithm was going to like push to people.
And that makes sense. I think that with over time, I've seen you change and come into it. Like early on, it did seem like you really wanted to just kind of hop on it because it did seem like an opportunity.
Right.
But it didn't seem like a passion. And at this point, it does seem like a passion. Like I look at your background right now, like everything is set up a perfect way. And I feel like when you look at a room, when you're going to be recording in it, you see it in a way where you know where you're going to be recording from and where the camera will be set up. It's a passion and it's a lifestyle now for you. And I think that now that you've found some type of alley that you want to go down and you really want to just navigate this certain area, I think you should run with it. I don't know. I think that would work well for you, that type of market. I think you talk well. Like right now, you're talking very well. You can continue. You can give opinions, and I think that works out well for you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I appreciate that. And the guy who edited my most recent video, he said something similar. He was basically like, He's like, I can see you're doing something a little bit different than a lot of people. And he's like, and I actually enjoy editing your videos because, it's not just like some stupid Fortnite video or, whatever. And I keep getting sort of like that recognition, but at sometimes it's like I have that complex or that voice in my head that says that I can't do it, and that kind of just like totally like fucks up my creativity and like makes me doubt the direction I'm going, and not just YouTube, like just like in general, like with my career or with just like things in life. It's definitely something that I have struggled with, is that I will get those outside opinions that are positive or people that are telling me to continue on, and then I don't personally believe it. So those outside comments don't really have as much of an effect, because
Right.
I myself feel like I'm going the wrong direction. So that is definitely something that has been, especially like with this, it has been a struggle, man, because a lot of people say that I have what it takes, but then like no one can give me an answer as to what I should do my channel on. I have asked so many people, so many different ways,
Yeah.
so many different times, and people just cannot tell me what the fuck I should be
I
doing.
think
They're
that
just
was one
like,
of your original videos, wasn't it? Didn't you go around asking people what you should do?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, it was basically like what the fuck?
yeah,
Like I know I can do it, but it's like, what do I do? And that has been like a whole year long journey.
I think
And
I do have an opinion real quick on just on. So I think you asked me that question last year or a while ago. I didn't have the exact answer. I probably played along to what I saw you doing, and I saw you doing well, and tried to push that along. But I would say right now, if you needed direction, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I kind of tell Brittany, or honestly, it's the same way Brittany paints. But you, I want to see your vision. So I want you to take whatever you see yourself doing, and I want you to lead us to that. Do you know those pictures that you see, that when you see one picture, you see a little picture, and you zoom out and you start to notice that there are pictures all around it. And as you go
mm-hmm,
further and further out, all of these pictures around it make one giant picture. That giant
mm-hmm.
picture is your vision, and I want you to get us to that point. So whatever you see yourself doing at whatever point, if you have to pivot or if you just have to, streamline it or push through it, that's the advice I'm going to give, is just do your vision. And I think that's what you've started to find.
Yeah,
So just do
it's
that.
yeah. I've just like gone to my ass to get to my elbow and then back again, and dude, and like it's gotten to a point to where Courtney's like frustrated with it, because she's like, I literally told you to do this like 6 months ago, a year ago, and now you're saying that this is the direction you're going to take the channel, and I'm like,
You
yeah,
have to find it yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, like how is it with you, with like trying to, I guess, find direction and find like what you want to do and think like where you want to take your life, and like what are some of the things you've wanted to you've set out to do, but you just didn't get to it because of X, Y, and Z, or
Mm-hmm.
that you can attribute to,
Uh,
anything that's going on in your life.
I would say that when it comes to me and direction, I'm not a creative, like you and Brittany are. Which you, I always felt like there was something you could do. I didn't know what it was. I did not think it would be creative, but holy crap, you have blown me away with this. But you two can do that. I'm creative in more of the backseat sense. I can see things and I can put different things
Mm-hmm.
together. I can notice patterns, that kind of stuff. But I don't have the drive to entertain or to push along a message or to motivate millions.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not me. So when it comes to me, I have to push myself to really want to improve somewhere. It doesn't matter where I'm improving. Every day I want to improve something. Honestly, what I should be improving is tracking my improvements, because I have no idea what I have and have not done.
I need to get
So
better at that too.
yeah, I fall behind and I end up doing the same things over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it. there are a few different areas, my relationship with Brittany, my marriage, the relationship with my friends and my family, my career, and then my hobbies. Those are like really my 4 areas I try to constantly improve on or find something that I can do. So right now, like with the podcast, with hanging out and stuff with friends more, I'm getting more into my relationships. I'm getting more into talking, which is something that I lost a lot of when COVID happened. I already had issues talking and, trying to keep my words straight. So that's one thing I try to improve on. But really it's the big thing is I pride myself on my ability to continuously improve. But because I pride myself on that, I lose focus on the fact that I am not organized in the way that I do it. So I actually am using a lot more effort than I should be. I am not efficient, even though I claim to be someone who seeks efficiency. And so it's like it's almost like hypocrisy that I feel sometimes, and that's really what drives me to improve. Is I don't want to be seen as someone who says one thing but does another. So yeah, a lot of it is just trying to.
So a little bit of a what the hell is it? Like imposter syndrome or whatever. Yeah.
I get all the time.
Yeah, man. And actually, you said something about like you don't think that you could or motivate like millions of people or something like that. And I think you actually could, man. I think like you've been like somebody who's motivational for at least your friend circle, and because of like all you've gone through in life and everything, and it's just like something that your friends and family have always seen in you, but it's hard to see those things in yourself, and which is exactly what I touched on earlier with me. I think you and I are very similar in that way.
Absolutely.
That from the outside looking in, people are like, this is a great person who has a lot to offer, but like internally, intrinsically, we're both very hard on ourselves and always see room for improvement, and we always see that like maybe we might not have what it takes in this certain area, but in reality we do. I think it just has to do with a lot of inner self-doubt. And that's like something that like I have been working on with like therapy and just in general.
There's just a big one.
It's just to like bring that confidence out in myself and not like seek it from others, because it's not actually like helping me. When I do hear it from others, it helps more so when I like feel it in myself that I can do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. But yeah, I think, go ahead.
And then just to touch on the messy part too, I definitely can feel that as well. I feel like I definitely don't get my best work done when there's like an absolute chaos around me.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if my office is like cluttered and there's like shit everywhere, it makes me like, it just makes me feel like shit. And like, I feel like I get less done. I feel like I almost lean into being lazy just because everything is just like not structured.
Right.
And I'm going to get into that later too, about how I've been trying to implement more structure and how that's helped. As far as trying to like time block my day a little bit better and say, these hours I'm going to do this, these hours I'm going to do this, these hours I'm going to do that. It's not super strict, but I think that like having more structure has actually given me more of a sense of freedom, which is kind of crazy.
No, I totally get that, because that's what I want to I want to run towards, just because like I feel like there's so much time in the day, and I feel like I do get things done, but I don't get enough things done to fill that time, and the only time I can find that I'm not using up is that idle time where I'm sitting on my phone or I'm sitting on the couch, waiting for Brittany to finish what she's doing because I'm waiting to do something together. There's so much time that is free that I am either not utilizing as free time or utilizing it as something. It's just idle, wasted time.
And if you're anything like me,
yes, go ahead.
If you're anything like me, it probably upsets you when you feel like you've wasted time when you could have been doing something more productive. Yep. And, it does. And then it becomes almost like a vicious cycle of like self. don't want to say self-hate, but like
Mm-hmm.
one notch below that. You're like, I spent this time on my phone on the toilet for 2 hours when I could have been like, when I could
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
doing, maybe putting the laundry away, or maybe like
Yeah.
writing in my journal, or maybe, talking to my family, like calling my mom or something. Dude, I literally, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I'm trying to get out of is like making myself feel like shit because I didn't feel like I accomplished what
Yeah.
I set out to do when I woke up,
Absolutely. That's one thing I've noticed. I've
It's
fallen
really
into a pattern
toxic.
of. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to. It's a fine line because you can't fall into a pattern of giving yourself grace either,
Mm-hmm.
because you will find a time where you'll allow yourself to do anything. Like there has to be some type of strictness or whatever that word is,
Mm-hmm.
to holding yourself accountable. You have to do that. You
Yeah.
can't be but so mean. Like you can't depress yourself with the words you say to yourself, but you also can't just lay down to your
Mm-hmm.
own wants. And
Right.
have you found anything beneficial to those times where you are sitting there, you are on your phone, and you feel really comfortable, but there are things you want to do, say put those clothes away or wash those clothes, but your body is just like, I can't seem to get up or anything like that. How do you snap out of it?
It's hard, man. It's almost like a muscle that is atrophied in your brain that
Yeah.
like you have to kind of like work out over time. And I think for me, not only has like trying to look at my week ahead of time has helped, try to fill in those blocks, but when I catch myself not, so how do I explain this? So by adding that structure ahead of time,
Hmm.
when I'm not using it how I had set it out to be, then that kind of helps get me out of it. Like if I look at my calendar, or if I look at the app that I use, what is it called? It's called Structured.
Hmm.
It has like a timeline, like a vertical timeline of all the tasks that I have set out for the day, and it's like a visual thing, which I really like. So if I'm not doing what it says I'm currently supposed to be doing in the app, then I'm like, oh shit, I need to like get out of what I'm doing right now, whether it be like on social media or whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I need this time to like decompress. Whereas before I used to be like super hard on myself, and then it would make it worse. I would just kind of like lean into those bad habits even more,
Right.
which was kind of weird. And then I read something about procrastination, about how like it becomes that way because you get mad at yourself for not spending time studying. For this is like from a student perspective when they did the study.
Right.
It was like the students would get upset at themselves for not doing what they set out to do, but then they continued to do what they were doing because they felt like they couldn't ever get to a place of wanting to do it or something
Right.
like that. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but yeah, it's hard, man. I still struggle with it personally. I really do. And I think sometimes it's just forcing yourself initially. It's like getting out of
Well.
bed. Like I have to
Hmm.
just say something in my head, just fucking get up. Like I just have to literally just like force myself physically. And then once I'm out,
Yes. Once you're moving, once
once
you're
I'm
moving,
out,
you're good.
yeah, then you're good. But it's like that initial, what is it called? Yeah, it's. I keep seeing this on like all these productivity videos
Hmm.
and blogs, and it's like inertia. Sitting still is like the worst thing for you because once you're there, it's so easy to just settle into that and not actually do what you were supposed to be doing. Whereas like when you start the day off and you're active, you're starting your
Right.
day off doing things. If you
Yeah.
continue doing that, it's a lot easier to accomplish tasks throughout the day.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you have a sit down or you're just on the couch laying there, you're much more likely to just lay there and like waste the day, which I've done
Yeah.
multiple times. But yeah, man, it's definitely hard.
It's so weird being an adult and having to train yourself to not go after all of your wants, because I want to lay there. I want to just hang out and relax and
Mm-hmm.
feel some rest. But at the same time, I also know that if I rest too much, I'm going to be exhausted when I wake up. And there's this balance you have to find of allowing some of the things that you want that are healthy, and letting that make you happy, but then also finding some happiness in a bit of the struggle, and having to clean your house and being happy and thankful that your house is clean, and
Yes.
thankful that you're not sick from a dirty house or depressed from a dirty house. If I would have known 15 years ago how much better I feel taking the 30 minutes to an hour every couple days to pick up and clean, like how much better I feel just having a clean house. Like I probably would have done it 10 to 15 years earlier. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like the standard American child and yelled at for not cleaning. So
Yeah.
it was more of a threat than anything else.
Yeah.
But if I would have learned that, I think things would have been a lot better. And there's so many of these small things I learned today and over the past year or so, especially with marriage. Honestly, it's weird when I hit marriage, it was like something switched and I started learning things a lot more. But a lot of things I wish I would have learned a long time ago, things that I'm happy I did finally learn. But there's this feeling that there's still a lot more that I have yet to figure out.
Yeah, dude, same. I think that's going to be a lifelong learning experience. It's just like, and it's like probably one of the toughest things to go through, but also the most rewarding at the same time, because it's you're having to almost like release a part of yourself to let the other person in, and there's always going to be that chaos of things not mixing sometimes, or things, the way that you think about it or way you perceive something is not the way that somebody else perceives that thing. And that's always the crux of like relationships in general.
It is. And
It's
being
just
understanding is all you got to do. Just be
yeah,
understanding,
yeah, it's all about like trying to see it from that other person's eyes. But another thing that I wanted to kind of get into too that has helped me is if it's a task that you don't want to complete, or it's something that you've been putting off, another way that you can kind of give yourself motivation to do it is, instead of giving yourself screen time like throughout the day or just randomly and it cuts into your time like here and there, is to like tell yourself that you're not going to check your phone unless it's like strictly for emergencies. Like put it on like focus mode, or something like that, and then you set to do out that thing you hate, and then as your reward is when you get like your 15-30 minutes of your dopamine of like checking social media, checking messages, doing all that.
Right.
So like I think, and that's, I've still struggled with it, but like trying to even structure like play time and like social media time
Yeah.
into your actual schedule has helped me too. So I don't know if that's something that you might want to like try, but
Yeah.
it has been something that has helped me out a little bit. So just trying to not have it just be something that is a distraction. Like it's just, I'm bored in that moment, so I just go for my phone.
Right. Do you find that like when you may have mentioned this already and I missed it, but when you do structure the happy or fun things or just texting in general,
Mm-hmm.
for certain times, do you find that you appreciate those time periods more because you're restricting it?
Oh, absolutely.
So you utilize that time, that hour of texting, you probably get a lot more conversations in and a lot more points in than you would if you would have just done it throughout the day.
Exactly. Yeah. When like throughout the day, it's like very mindless. It's not intentional at all. So, whereas like when it's a structured time block, it's like you're like, I have this set amount of time, so I'm gonna like really make the best of it. Text all the respond to the people who've texted me. Maybe check my email, maybe check some of this, check some of that, and then I'm done until the next time block. And then I set like a play time too, so that can be either for me to play video games, that could be for me to do some like research on YouTube stuff, or go outside, whatever. It's like a very loose thing.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
what's really helped me is like I do have my times blocked out, but it's not for anything super specific. Like I have like my general wake up time, and then like I set a time for journaling, going to the gym. I have family time on there. And what else? Then I
Do you
again
force
like
yourself to do things like say you have family time and Courtney and Roman are out somewhere that time for that day for some reason? How would you fill that time? Would you swap it for something else, or do you keep a
right.
strict time?
Yeah, so it's like I keep it loosey goosey. So like
Okay,
if family time for some reason is not family time because she's
right.
out or whatever, then I'll use that as like extended play time or whatever I want to. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, it helps me just to kind of align my week a little bit and feel like I'm not wasting as much time, and then I can kind of like visually see those accomplishments. Let me see if I can get it in here, but that's how it visually
Okay,
shows it, like in a timeline. So it's
that
like
makes sense.
gym, and then boom, 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 and then it shows it like as you're doing it, and you can check it off, and then it has like the time blocks and everything on
Okay,
there. So I mean, it's helped me out quite a bit, but it's not for everybody. I just know that people like I have learned to appreciate more structure than like just waking up and being like, I'm gonna try to do this, and then I end up doing that one task for like six hours, and then I'm pissed off that I didn't do these 3 or 4 other things that I wanted to do.
yeah,
So
that's where I find myself nearly every day. Is I get all these grand ideas for things I want to start or I want to work on or I want to complete, and at the end of the day, I usually missed a few of them, but I found that there's all this time that I could have been doing something. I do find the pitfalls, but the next day it's very hard for me to improve on that because I don't write it down. I don't figure it out. And I think the more structure I add, even if it's a little bit at a time, it all builds on each other. So like I said earlier, you appreciate that time that you're texting now because you aren't doing it when you shouldn't be doing it. And the times that you shouldn't be doing it, those, whatever you are doing, you're getting more of that done too. So it's a win-win on every angle. As long as you're not going too strict and you're causing yourself to miss out on things because you're not allowing leniency, or you're not being so lenient that as soon as someone messages you, your whole schedule is broken because they can just say, "Hey, let's do this thing," and you go, "Okay, that's fine." You know, you have to structure and keep that structure, but don't hold yourself but so accountable.
exactly, yeah, it's like a little bit of both. It's like I can't, if there's no structure, that to me is like this one guy on Love on the Spectrum. He was like, if I don't have structure, it's just absolute chaos. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. It really is. If you don't have anything written down or any intention, if you don't set any intention for the day or for the week, it literally is chaos. Outside of like your day job, it's like those empty time blocks or hours where you don't have any intention on it, it can turn into an absolute shit show.
It does. And it does often.
And that's what has happened to me multiple times. And I was like, something's got to give, because I had no boundaries when it came to YouTube. I had no boundaries when it came to like, I was just like, today I'm going to be playing video games any second I get. And then the next day it was like, I'm doing YouTube until 10 o'clock at night. And that shit is just not sustainable.
Yep.
So yeah.
Mentioning the real quick, mentioning the reality show thing you just mentioned, I wanted to tell you I've started watching Below Deck. Isn't that one of the shows you watch?
Yes.
Yeah, we started watching. I think we started at season 2 because have you watched Traders yet?
Oh yeah, dude. Of course.
Or
Yeah.
whatever. I didn't know you watched Traders. Oh my god, it's so good. It might be
Dude,
the
what
best
the
reality
hell?
show. I didn't know you watched.
Wait, didn't I tell you about Traders, or did you
No,
tell
you
me
didn't.
about it first?
One of us told each other. I don't know. I only know I watched Below Deck now because Kate is on Traders, and I'm like, Kate is awesome. She's so funny.
Dude, when she was carrying those like barrels in the first season, and she just like throws them. I was like, oh my God, she is literally me in a female.
Yep.
Like she
Yep.
just
She's
does not
hilarious.
care.
Such a and that. Oh, I love reality TV. Anyway, we need to have like a whole segment for that one day. But let's get back on track before we break our own advice. So yeah, segmenting things out, scheduling things out, putting time blocks in for things, and holding yourself accountable, but not restricting yourself so much so that you miss out is it's very important. And
Yeah.
as
And
I've
I
said before,
also want to say that I'm not like pro hustle culture. I'm not
no,
like wake up at 3 in the morning and work out and do this and do that and do that, or else you're a worthless piece of shit. Like, no, I'm like maybe 2% of that.
that's
I'm not,
exactly
you know
where
what
I'm
I'm talking
going.
about?
Yep, I do, and that's the one thing I've had to teach myself is I'm not hustle culture. Like I have always kind of thought I was because I do enjoy pushing myself,
Hmm.
but I enjoy the leniency of being like, hey, that's too much, or hey, just take a day, or take a couple hours to just chill out for a minute. You
Hmm.
know, not pushing yourself to the point where you break and you come so used to hustling and pushing yourself that that's all you know. That I'm tired of living, as my sister says it, in survivor mode or survival mode.
Hmm.
And we've been trained to appreciate and love survival mode. I appreciate and love the fact that I can do as well as I do when I am in survival mode. It's better than some people can,
Hmm.
but I don't have to live it all the time.
Right.
But you also
Dude,
shouldn't let yourself go either.
yeah, no, you'll definitely like that. That was me, man. I was burning out by trying to fill every minute with like productive activity or what I deemed to be productive.
Yep.
And that was one thing that I learned from that book.
4,000 weeks.
Yeah, what is it, 4,000 weeks or whatever? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yep.
about how like a majority of the stuff that we deem to be productive or it actually really isn't, and that we're just spending a lot of time on a lot of the wrong things.
Yeah.
And as long as you're accomplishing a couple things in the day outside of your day job, then that's a win. It could be, oh, I spent more time with my wife than I normally do, and she really appreciated that. Or I spent less time on video games and more time doing this, that, and the third. Or I spent less
Yeah.
time on YouTube and I did this instead. Um, yeah, I think I struggle a lot with like consumption of just media.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that, man. Just
We
like
should.
how there is so much on the internet. It's like you consistently have FOMO. Like that is the hardest part for me. Is like, is there something going on that I should be aware of? And then it makes you just like look at your phone and it's like face down, but you're looking at it like, dude, I'm sure that there's like some good shit going on Reddit or
Yeah.
Facebook or this or that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like my number one subreddit that I watch is video game leaks and rumors. And it's just updates of things that may or may not be true. Somebody could just post the most outlandish shit that they want to. But tell you what, I believe half of them, at least half of the time.
Chris is like, I'm
Because
going down the rabbit hole.
I do, and then I'll find some, and then I have a friend that's really into a game or really into a console or something like that. I'll send it to him and be like, "Hey, look at this rumor, look at this." And it's like fun to me, and I catch myself looking at it all the time, and I'm like, "What is wrong with me? Like, I don't need to know any of this. Like, none of this, half of this probably isn't even going to ever happen. If it does, it's probably going to get canceled halfway through anyway. So there's no point to any of it. There's so much of my attention and time and effort put into something that." Yeah, I get a little laugh out of it or a little bit of excitement every now and then, but 89% of the time, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, dude. It's like attention it's such a commodity. It's like we only get but so much attention in the day and in our lives. And like all of these multi-billion-dollar corporations are fighting for it on a daily basis. And it's like,
Yeah.
and then I think about that in my head when I make YouTube videos. I'm like, people are taking time out of their day to watch this video. So it needs to be really fun. It really needs to be engaging or at least make them happy or something because you have so many choices of content.
Yeah,
You could be
that's so
watching
true.
YouTube. You could be watching TikTok. You could be watching Netflix. You could be watching something on Reddit. You could be dude,
And you could
it's
be reading Reddit while you're
insane.
doing all of those things at the
Yeah.
same time. You could be taking in
Yeah.
so
Making our
having these
ADHD even
information.
worse.
Yes. And like, okay, I'm not like a TikTok hater or anything like that, but I will say that I can see how one day that could affect people's brains. It's just the quick
Yeah,
changing and the quick, getting those quick
it
hits
is. It's
of,
called context switching, and it's
mm,
really bad. It's really bad for your brain. Our brains were not developed for context to switch. So, like, TikTok does it the worst. It's like you could literally be watching a video on a video game,
mm-hmm.
and then the next swipe is like somebody doing a dance like in the
Mm-hmm.
street, or and then you swipe again and it's like a fucking clip from a podcast, and you're like, what? And
Yeah.
it's like you're getting those dopamine hits, but your brain is literally like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. 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 And what's next? Like,
At least I feel like with YouTube Shorts, it stays within the same niche or the same
mm,
kind of what you're into.
their
Like
algorithm is
I've noticed
remarkably
that.
good. Remarkably good.
Yeah. Whereas like I feel like Instagram or Meta Corporation and like YouTube, they're a little bit more responsible with their algorithm. A little bit.
Yes. Yeah, they are. I will say that too.
Whereas TikTok is like, we want to keep motherfuckers' eyeballs glued to this as long as humanly possible.
It's very
And
good, but very
damn,
scary.
they are doing an excellent job at that.
They are. I don't hate TikTok, but I hate that it is as good as it is because it's such a good algorithm, but some things like are too good. Like when
Yeah.
it's making itself addictive, and people are just watching it day in and day out, and they forget what it's like to have real happiness, and now they're living like vicariously through someone else they don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
It I can actually the worst part is I can understand it. I can understand being in a hole. You don't even have to already be depressed. You can just take a look at it, get some enjoyment, go back to it every now and then, and sooner or later you're in it.
Right.
I can empathize with that. I can understand somebody being in that situation. It's not because they're dumb. It's not because they let themselves do it. That's my problem with TikTok. But on the other hand, that technology is fascinating because
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how good it can almost anticipate your next niche that you want to get into.
Right.
Or is it doing that, or is it just pointing you there so well that it points you into what you want next?
Right. Or if it like detects that you're remotely losing interest, it's like, oh, let me
Yeah,
play this. Let me play you this video that's gone viral, and like something that it knows is going to keep your attention
right.
for the next swipe. It's crazy, man. And I'm also not one of those people who thinks that like there's this deeper conspiracy
No.
to TikTok. I really just think it's dollars and cents at the end of the day, and all of these people are just competing for our eyeballs. And then TikTok just has the younger crowd because the younger generations just always want to do the shit that old people aren't on. So
Yeah, if you
and
ever want to destroy something, send us. As soon as we start doing it, they won't do it anymore.
yeah, exactly. As soon as these kids' parents start getting on there, then they're going to try to find the next best thing. But yeah, man, I really don't think that it has helped with like our attention issues.
No.
And I think that that's been declining over the years since like the, like 2010s and on, since like technology has been like really heavily with like leaned
Social
in really
media.
heavily with that. Yeah.
Do you remember the days before that?
Yeah.
What was your attention like then? What was it? How was it? Can you think back to what it was like? I swear it was so much better.
I think it was. Yeah.
I could organize without a calendar. I could do it all in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Are we older, or was it because of the changes in how we, get our attention consumed?
Yeah, man. I think that things were just moved a lot slower, literally. You had dial up, you had, you were lucky if you had like DSL or, even cable internet wasn't super fast yet in the beginning. But yeah, you had like, the Friendster, MySpace / what else
You ever
was
hear
it?
Open Teen Journal or Teen Open Journal? Brittany always tells me about that one, and I'm like, I have never heard of that. That was some weird emo thing.
No.
I don't know. Never heard
Was
of
that
that
like,
one, but
was that like what like emo kids were on or something?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You pretty much sign up. You make your journal, and then everyone, I guess, can read your journal. It was the same
Oh no,
thing.
I do remember that. Yeah,
You do?
yeah. I do. It was
Yeah.
almost like a blogger kind of like site
Yeah,
thing.
that's what it sounds like. Apparently it died because we tried to find her old posts a long time ago, and just a cringe for one night, and we couldn't find them. They took the whole site down. You can't find it anymore. It's just weird to feel that old, that a piece of your history just does not exist anymore because it just ran out of money or it ran out of time, and ooh, that's stressful.
And anything like that can happen to any of these platforms, man.
It can.
Yeah, any of them can go out like Vine. I don't think that'll ever happen to YouTube just because Google has like unlimited money. But
It'll
I mean,
happen to one of them. Apple or Google will go first, and I don't know which one it'll be.
yeah. But yeah, TikTok's killing the game. I need to start getting some short form content back on there and on Instagram Reels again. I feel like I've been missing out on a lot of those opportunities.
Yeah,
But man.
I don't know. Short form's hard. I don't understand short form outside of cute or funny. If you could break into a niche that maybe doesn't even exist yet, a lot of the stuff that I think is great is cutting up, what you do in your long form and putting that into a short form. I think that works out really well. But
That's definitely what I'm going to be doing. Because I don't want to make it extra effort like I was before. Like I was trying to do a long form and then do a completely different short form, and that's not sustainable for me unless I had like a team. If I had like a team that just did short form and then a team that helped me with long form, which is a lot of these bigger creators do have that. They have people that repurpose it for them or come up with ideas for them. But like I definitely don't want to be like a dinosaur and just do a long form because I feel like the vertical short form isn't going anywhere. It's super popular. It's just all about
very good.
figuring out how I want to fit it in there.
It's I think that it's almost like long form is the console and short form is the mobile version of things. Like if you're out somewhere, you just want to pop on and see something quick, you have 5 minutes to spare. I'm not going to start a Wendigoon video if I have 5 minutes to spare. That will just piss me off. So
yeah,
there's a huge market for both of them, and I think you're right. Just hitting both of them right where they need to be hit, but just focusing on the one that you really enjoy the most is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, does he clip his own stuff, or does he have like? Because I know he's like big enough to have like fans cut his shit up for him, basically. Because I've seen clips of him that aren't his channel.
Yeah, I had too, and I'm like, how did they get away with that? But yeah,
you can make your content clippable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just cool. It's free advertisement, so why not?
That's true. If it's clippable, can they be monetized? Can someone monetize a clip of Wendigoon on their channel?
That's a great. I don't think you can. You can't just like copy and paste people. You have to recreate it in some way. You have to be commentating over it, or maybe doing your own editing style with it.
That makes sense.
It can't just be like copy paste and then like you'll get taken down for that.
Form. I don't think he does short form. I've seen what he does. I think he kind of does what you do, where he'll take like the highlights of things and sit those in. I think he does some things where he has another channel that he does. He has Wendigoon and then he has Wendigang. Wendigang was like at one point.
That his what is that? His podcast?
Yeah, it was podcast at one point. It was way back in the day. I think it was like a video game streaming thing that he did. But now he has 3 different podcasts. He has like the Red Room, and he has the one with the Penguin guy, the most critical. He has one with him, and another one. I don't know how he has time for anything at this point. Like, I think he's going to go, maybe I give it another year. I gave Wendigoon 1 year, and then he's going to disappear, and we'll never hear from him again. And he's just going to take his money, and he's going to be gone, and I'll be happy.
Or he'll go straight up private and just like, if you want to get my videos, you can go on Patreon, but I'm out. Like I'm peacing out.
Yep. Go start his church or something. Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think he likes being like beholden to like YouTube's policies and stuff. Because I think his videos get demonetized quite a bit.
Every time.
Which is why he has sponsors.
Yeah. And he's literally said that. Have you seen the videos he's had where he'll be like the video on Waco, and he'll talk about the guns they're using, and he has those guns. He owns guns, and so he shows it on the video. He goes, "This is airsoft. This is not real." I promise you, FBI, please don't come. I'm pretty sure it is real, but it's hilarious every time. He really does not care about getting demonetized because he's made that ad revenue up so well. And
Yeah.
that freedom must be nice.
It's the same thing with like women that do very overtly sexual ASMR on YouTube. Those always get demonetized, but they don't care because like it's sponsored by freaking mattress companies and
Really?
Yeah, it's like this is sponsored by Helix, blah 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 blah.
Oh
yeah,
wow. Dude. I didn't know they could get monetized like that.
Or it's just like an advertisement for their like OnlyFans or something.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's smart. It makes how can we do that, Sean? How can we advertise outside of YouTube and just bring it in to YouTube, just like that? That would be genius.
Yeah, man.
Just
I mean, that's people. I wish, dude. But yeah, man, I actually really look up to Wendigoon though, because he literally just was a guy who just sat in front of his camera and just like talking in like a really calm tone. I feel like he was like the first kind of like Sam Sulik person to just like literally turn on his camera and just talk about what he was passionate about. Like Sam Sulik, he just talks about like what's going on in his college life or what's going on in his day. And then he records his gym session and that's it. It's like an hour-long video, millions of views.
Yeah, he is really cool. I really do like that. I haven't watched a ton of him, but I love his platform that he does, like just doing his thing. And I think that's one of the. I think you have a piece of that. I think that's one of the things I've seen is like when you started getting a few subscribers. It was exciting for a moment, just like, oh, I didn't expect that. But at no point did you focus on it, and you actively were like, I don't want anybody to really keep messaging me about this kind of stuff. Like, it's not what I care about. Like,
Right.
I am me. And if they want to keep subscribing, that's cool. But I'm not going to look at when I got that spike and then force myself to do that one thing over and over. I'm going to continue being me. And it's helped you, I think.
Oh yeah, dude. And actually, you know what? I've lost like 40 or 50 subscribers this month alone.
Really?
Yeah. Because a lot of the people that signed up for my shit, they're like, they signed up for like when I was like doing funny videos and now I'm not doing that anymore. So I totally expected attrition. I totally expected people to leave. It hasn't been as much as I was expecting, which is good.
That's really good.
I was expecting to lose at least 500, 600, and it'll still keep declining, but I'm trying. That's why I'm trying to do shorts again to try to offset that loss. But I'm also trying to do shorts to try to like kind of quickly let YouTube know.
I think your camera just zoomed when you did that. It zoomed in and then zoomed out.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Go away. But yeah, no, it quickly transitioned because it takes like almost a year. It can take sometimes for YouTube to figure out what your new niche is or who your new audience is. And I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have a year to wait for you guys to fucking bullshit this.
Oh,
so
wait.
I'm just
So do you have to figure out what you want to do and then wait for YouTube to catch your algorithm up to that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that some bullshit?
You won't even know if what you're doing is working until months later, probably. Right?
Yeah.
Like really know. Oh wow. So yeah,
that's why if you've seen a lot of my most recent uploads, they've only had like maybe 30, 40 views.
Yeah,
it's exactly why. It's because my current audience, my current subscriber base doesn't give a fuck about those videos. So YouTube, that sends a signal to YouTube that my videos suck. So they don't push it out to a wider audience. So it takes months for YouTube to realize that I'm not doing videos on that stuff anymore.
Oh,
it's
that makes
bullshit,
so much sense. Like, it's not good. It's not good at all, but it makes sense because I look at videos of YouTubers and I see like, I love this video and I see where they popped off at. And I'm like, I look 3 or 4 back. I'm like, these were all the same thing. Why weren't these taking off? Why did it take so long for them to blow up? And it was because of exactly what you said. They just hadn't pushed it out yet.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy how it works. Like once you start understanding the inner workings, because I almost thought about starting a brand new channel because it would almost be easier starting from scratch as opposed to like waiting for this, this transition to take place. But I'm just like, I already have a solid fan base. Like my YouTube, like URL is like all over my social medias. It would just be too much of a pain in the ass for me to. And then I'm managing multiple YouTubes, and I was just like, fuck it. If it takes a while, it takes a while. whatever.
You got nothing but time. And the way I see it is we talked about it before. YouTube has started seemingly to have a transition to the more modern kind of stuff instead of the flashy, thumbnails, and the videos are kind of changing style. By the time it catches up to your algorithm, I think that your channel will already be at that. Your channel's already there. So as it's catching up to you and changing, your niche over, you'll be right on line with where YouTube seems to be going. So it's better to do that. Take who you got already than starting over. I completely agree. A lot of work.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited about this podcast with like you and Sly, like the way that, like you mentioned this, I mean, how it's keeping us together. And regardless of whether it pops off or whether like these videos go viral, it's just been fun talking with you and talking with Sly and talking with like, hopefully we can get some guests, some maybe some Best Buy alum.
Yeah,
dude, if we can get Bill Mensch on here.
Oh my gosh, he would. I bet he would do it because he's down in, was it Georgia now? So he doesn't. Is it Georgia or South Carolina? And he doesn't. He's like, when you were in Arizona, it's different. So he would definitely want to join in sometime. I can bet on that.
Dude, maybe I should text him. I'll text him and see if he wants to come on the next one. If we're doing one next week, and we'll go with it with a little bit of a better idea of what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, I don't know how y'all feel about this. Like, how much y'all really want to put like effort into it. Like, I could meet during a weekday for 30 minutes to an hour just to figure out what we want to do and plan things out. That way, we're not having to figuring out over text message all the time. Do the whole thing you're doing where you set time aside for it rather than trying to catch up. If y'all wanted to do that, I could set aside a certain hour and then stick to it. Just let me know what works for y'all.
Dude, I'm down for that because this Zoom is killing me.
Yeah, I can understand.
This is killing me right now. God damn it. Stop.
It's like all dramatic. It's like, what's Sean about to say?
There we go. Okay. No, that's not tracking me. Fuck. I love this webcam, but it's a pain in the ass when it gets my hand signals wrong. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, we could do like a Discord call, whether video or audio only, and just at least try to dial into one subject for the first 30 minutes, and then the last 30 minutes we can kind of go off the rails. Because on YouTube, people are only watching the first 10, 15 minutes of the video anyway, so we might as well like talk about the focal point there, and then we can kind of just trail off and just have fun after that. I think that'll work out, and I think as we get more consistent, we'll get a loyal audience, a loyal fan base. But dude, it's been good. Actually, I'm going to stop recording. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. Blah, blah, blah. We will see you next time.
Bye.